So, last time you guys came back together after delving into Margot's connection to the dream space, pulled back, had a moment to kind of rest and reconfigure your mindsets, ask each other a lot of questions, lots of hot seating, lots of grilling. You guys all found out some various levels of intricate detail about each other. And had kind of a blank slate to choose from. Well, not a blank slate, but a series of choices that you could have gone in whatever direction, and you decided to seek out the Guild of Knowledge, which Seamus has a connection to, looking for a way to bolster yourselves in the upcoming war with fire, and just to understand maybe a little bit more of what is going on inside of Aeon itself. And you decided to leave Whitewater College, walking through a portal or an archway into the burbling waterfall that pitched below the college down into the waterfall that was just above the Knowledge Falls. As you did, you gained some temporary water breathing, water walking, and a featherfall-like effect while in water. You came down and you entered back into Knowledge Falls, coming the way that you had seen some other people come as you were entering or exiting out of the kind of like spiritual cave that you saw, some of you saw previous to the fire. And as you walk across the water, you are also temporarily invisible until your feet falls on land and you regain your visibility. So the lot of you are at the top of Knowledge Falls. It's about mid-morning, or it's about early morning at this point, maybe like 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. Not quite sunny yet. The last kind of dregs of nighttime are kind of still presenting themselves. You can start to see the distant horizon change its hue. So, what are you guys doing? Also, is anybody else able to hear the music from Foundry?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I cannot, which is interesting.
I can't hear any music either.
It was a little quiet for me, so I just had to turn it up, but otherwise, yep.
Oh, there we go. Yep, both of those songs just happened to be minimal. Okay, so what's first on the agenda for you guys? You guys just cruising through here, or anything that you're trying to stop for?
What's the library look like after all the fire?
So as you come down, this space is primarily nocturnal, just like Ripple Top is. But it's, like I said, it's just about to crest into morning time. So you don't see very many people. It's like this is bedtime for most up here. So you see just a few people, again, the kind of mishmash of collective peoples, lots of like librarians, simple robes. You see an occasional person wearing the pin that is from the Whitewater College, but you recognize the connections a little better. There's all sorts of people here who they look like various types of magic casters. Being able to return, you see, some bigger, broader folk who may be more on the paladin side, like Dro is. You see some more intellectual types. You see some some more live types with maybe a couple of sabers at their side, possibly rangers. They're all just those that are not quite going to bed yet are just sitting and studying or dealing with some sort of problem. There are a few sections of the library that are burned. The kind of southeast corner is the most charred, but overall, not bad. Seems like most of the damage is in like small spots. And it was also at this point about 6 days ago that well, really, since it started, it was almost closer to 7 days. You guys were asleep for about 5. And a lot of the problems that would have been here immediately after the fiery invasion have already been addressed.
Is the like head librarian guy down towards the center here where he was at before as we're making our way through?
Yeah, as you're kind of wandering around, you're looking for Onslow, that blind otter person. He does not appear to be present. And you guys didn't really stay here for very long or talk to very many people. And it's also kind of like a different shift of folks. And there was a big event. So like as you're going through, you don't like nobody gives you any like trouble or anything. You do get some like interested stares, and you get Dro continues to get some uncomfortable attention as like some people are like pointing to him and like scribbling down into a book, like just probably taking historical record of like, oh, it's the new champion, like gotta document this sort of vibe as you step into like a space of nerds.
Oh, I wish I had thaumaturgy.
No thaumaturgy for you.
Where is everybody? See Yaslin. Don't see Seamus or Margot.
They're up further.
Oh, they're there. Dro would walk up to Seamus, being the book guy that at least Dro knew. Is there any other books you were looking for here? We were kind of forcefully pushed out. I do remember you trying to save some of the books when that fire started crawling up here.
I think I got what I came for here. This might be worth checking on the library just to see how they fared, but it looks like fairly well around here.
Do God, do I remember where this was? The God, I think it was like a snake man that Dro talked to before shit hit the fan.
You spoke to kind of like an assistant type person. It was like a long, skinny necked dragonborn
Okay.
With yellow scales,
That's it.
whose name I
see
totally
him?
remember.
I know. I'm trying to find it in my notes. Do I see him?
Give me a perception check.
Nope.
Not at this moment.
Okay. find his name in my notes. I think just
You do see folks at the library around.
anybody that sticks out different. Obviously, if they're all wearing the same robes, but like, is one's robes more decorative or anything to establish?
Seems like a higher rank.
Yeah, exactly.
With an 8, you do see like one person working over here, which I think I said was like the history section or the arcana section. Who they've got kind of like a yellow collar or like a yellow like stripe on their collar when everybody else is mostly like just more humble brown.
Vero would motion to Seamus and kind of motion towards that individual and start to make his way over. You said over here, right, Morgan?
Yeah, over yonder. Wow.
Forge froze for me. There we go. And then is there back to us or no?
Yeah, they do look to be like heads down in a book.
Look over at Seamus. Do you think we should disturb them?
Oh, that's worth asking. Excuse me.
Their head kind of pops up and they turn around and like their body stays facing the same direction. Their head does like a full swivel back to you, and their neck is kind of like elongated and scaled, and you see them kind of like pop out of their concentration, and there's a fork-like tongue that kind of slithers out from the mouth. Yes, hi.
Sorry to disturb you there, but are you with the library? Are you? Do you work here?
Oh, certainly. I'm one that puts them in their place. You know, most people come here to study, but I actually do the librarian things here.
Oh, well, that's just grand. We were passing through and some of the fires broke out here, and just wanted to check on you, see how you fared.
Ah, your group looks a little different than what I've heard of, but I heard that as it started, you ran straight into it. That's appreciated. You probably helped us fare better than we could have. Most of us here have some training at the college, quite a bit of self-taught and self-researched magical ability as well, so just about everybody went and helped participate in pushing it back as best we could. Some things broke through, caused a bit of damage. There's a few of us that didn't make it.
I'm sorry for your losses, but obviously we're all quite lucky to have the champion on our side.
Indeed. I've been hearing stories that we had a new one, which I don't believe was the case when you left. How did that happen? It must be terribly fascinating.
I'm sure that the stories don't do it justice, and I certainly don't have the time right now, nor the capacity, being not a bard or a linguist of my own, but I can say that I think we owe a lot to this champion here standing before us. But again, sorry for any of your losses.
Very appreciated. It is It's been a rough month or so. So unfortunately, it's becoming something that we're becoming accustomed to. Hopefully we don't have anything like this for a good long while. Champion, you certainly must come and let us dictate and document your journey.
I'm sure we can arrange something.
I can see that you're a little uncomfortable, but
Dro is just
like it or
staring
not.
daggers at Seamus.
like it or not, you're part
I-
of history, you know.
It's true. It'll have to be well documented, and I'm sure that we can make some time in his busy schedule to make his way back here for exactly just a session. Or if you have a bard you can send along the way, maybe they can take some notes.
As a matter of fact, we do. The college and the library both, we have no barriers on what type of magic, and some of our compatriots here are indeed from bardic colleges.
Well, there you have it. It was fated to come together.
Quite right.
If you have any other needs of the friendship friends, is that what we're still calling a champion?
No.
I will admit that's a terrible name. You really should workshop that a bit more.
Dro just leans over. That was their idea and point to Seamus and Leo.
So, what kind of tales would you like? Is it tales of tragedy? Tales of valor? A tale of swords? A tale of glamour?
All of the above from where I saw it.
He's like staring at Dro, waiting for a response from him.
You'll probably want to break it down into 3 acts. But I'll let the poets workshop that. But for now, we're just glad to hear that the things weren't worse than they could have been. And of course, if you need us again, you can certainly find a way to reach out. Just ring for the champ. I'm sure that the school will be able to put you in contact with him.
Right, and I assume you're leaving off onto your next adventure. You just have a feeling like you're just stepping through.
I think the war effort is going to have a broad reach, and we need to do some research to make sure that we can help everyone be as prepared as possible against such an enemy.
Certainly. Yeah, we'll find a way to reach out to you. We have those with the ability to send messages magically long distance, or we can always talk to one of the new ox. They're pretty good at finding you wherever you might be.
Ripple Downs is the next stop if you need us in the near future.
Oh, great.
Seamus, you and Leo were at Ripple Down before, if I was not mistaken. How long of a journey is that from, I would imagine, here?
Yeah, a few days for sure. We'll want to take some carriage.
No, and Dro's saying this kind of out loud so the other one can hear. I would imagine we could get that carriage at Rippletop.
Oh, quite right.
Yeah, I'm hoping it could be arranged somehow. I imagine it'd be quite expensive for the group that we have traveling, and of course you'd need something of your station. You wouldn't want to be sent off from here in some lowly wagon.
Yeah, and again, just feeding into this. Plus, we used up a lot of the resources we had for that major battle, and I know I'm fresh out of healing potions. I think everybody else is as well, so I would say if we could find a fairly inexpensive carriage to save some coin for supplies that we need along the way.
I don't know where we could find such a thing at such an hour. It would take quite an individual to pull something like this together. We would be in debt to them for sure, but
Roll a persuasion check with advantage, you hams.
Well, I'll let the charisma caster do that.
Hey, you're a paladin now.
Thank God for the
Ooh.
advantage.
Oh, yeah. Oh gosh. Burn that one.
get it out of there. That's right.
I certainly is getting up to the library here. It's more like a small walker, kind of a pilgrimage. We don't really do any wagons or such. It's unless we're rebuilding it. What you're talking about and requiring, you can do much better than what we have here. But if you go Rippletop, that should certainly be something they can arrange. Migolo is probably the one that you want to speak to. He's a bit of a master of trade down there, and I'm sure he has plenty of access to wagons and carriages, anything that may be transported. The others have different responsibilities, but he's the one that handles the ins and outs.
Out a game. This was the leader of the Gatherer faction, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just kind of look at Seamus. I think we had encountered him and kind of look over at Yaslin. Yeah, we had a conversation with him, so I can imagine he wouldn't have forgotten us just yet. We left a great impression. He might also have supplies that we could use.
And that's where we'll head.
Sounds wonderful. Is there anything else that I can do for you?
Who can I thank for your time here?
It's nothing. But Zayn, just
Syme. It's quite a pleasure. Thank you for the work that you do.
thank you as well. If you ever need help locating anything in the library up here, please don't hesitate to ask.
Gerald will just kind of nod, turn, look, glance at Seamus with those daggers again for the amount of champion as he walks.
Finger gun at you. Looks like we're walking crew. Just down to Rippletop, and then we'll take some carriage from there.
Yeah, we actually had, well, we and then motion to Yaslin had a conversation with someone that might be able to get us a carriage. The impression, we'll see how that goes. The good cop, bad cop may or may not have worked.
Well, we left an impression.
Just look over at Yaslin. Let Seamus do the talking.
Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, fair enough.
I think Jiral's gonna just take in the surrounding again, just seeing the library didn't take a whole lot of damage, which is good. As this place could be very beneficial to us just in general for knowledge. As we walk, Dro is watching Seamus and how he acts in an area, this library, with this knowledge, with us going to the Guild of Knowledge and just studying how he is in here.
Yeah, I mean, Seamus, he definitely, is clocking the books and, just kind of respectful walking through here. I mean, if you think back, into the interactions in the library here, um, I think I was pretty straightforward with most people in the library here and dealt with them on the level. Seamus definitely has a level of respect for the university and libraries in general for some of the stuff that he does.
Dro's just kind of looking, not really taking it in. Like, oh, it's books, cool. Remember how to get out of here. Oh, down here.
I think it's southwest of here.
Oh, is there food on this table?
Oh,
For like
Jesus.
Gax. Oh,
You're muted.
you're muted.
Got to get it out of the way. Yeah. And there, Yaslin, as you walk by, you see there are rather large platters of like offerings, because it is underneath what appears to be a shrine, some sort of like ball that has these kind of like little glowing orbs like attached to it, and it does kind of like radiate off a series of colors. And there is indeed food here, little flickering lights as well. And the room is a little bit ethereal.
It's food
And
it's just laying out. So
give me a perception check as well.
okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
A 20.
Yeah, you definitely see this. Underneath, as you're kind of like looking at it, you see stamped into the stone that is the base of the shrine, you see a little black circle with a simply drawn black spider.
I'm not religious. I don't know what this means. Listen though, seeing all of this delicious food here, she will do like a switcheroos, and she'll put down a javelin and take one of these skewered fish, and she will happily be on her way with a snack for the road.
Okay. Let's see here.
I'm about to be cursed.
Roll me an insight check.
Okay. That's a nat 20. I've been rolling really well today, apparently.
Apparently. This is hilarious to me because of what happened this time. you kind of hear a whisper, just kind of like come from the shrine itself. They know to take means you have to give something in return. Everything costs. Nothing is for free.
And I did give. I gave you a weapon. Something that I think is far more useful than food to many. Though it is
A starving
necessary.
man has no use for a weapon. But a cornered man has no use for food. Use is relative. But I am not cornered nor starving. So I appreciate the offer. And enjoy your prize.
Thank you. I will.
She takes her fish and joins her friends.
Jiro just turns
She
and
looks-
looks at you.
She looks really, really pleased.
Where did you? Whatever. And just starts walking.
There was a table full of it, or something. If you could get
It's
some
like
yourself.
large. It's like large, shallow bowls. Like they're like the bowls are like beyond shoulder width, and there's just different offerings surrounding the inside of the room here.
Jiro can
Dro,
connect
if you.
that's where she got it from.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I got
easy.
the
The
some.
fish is
Yeah,
10
she
feet inside the door.
points.
You know,
What?
just kind of motioning to what's over there. You know, that's probably not a good idea.
Something in return.
Just
She
glances
said it was
over her
alright,
shoulder.
or they. The shrine said it was okay for me to take this.
He just puts his hand
Keeps-
on her forehead. Are you okay?
She swats it away. Yeah.
Jiro just turns and looks at the shrine.
You see, easy to see that circular black stamp of the spider right there.
Just kind of looks at it. It
Oh,
talks.
give me a moment while I release my dog from the bathroom.
It talked. is what he said.
Looking back from the shrine to Yaslin, back to the shrine. Just keep walking. A little confused.
I'm happy. I have a fish for the road.
It's probably gone by now.
I'm being
It's
careful.
it's a big fish. It's like tuna size.
Yeah. He's really happy.
Jiro just continues the walk.
I would like to examine some of the books in this room.
Sure. Give me an investigation check. Anything in particular that you were looking for?
Lore.
Lore. Okay. One thing that you do. So yeah, go ahead and give me that investigation.
14.
14. Okay. One thing that you do easily see is that, like, over here looks a little bit like a conspiracy map. And very quickly you see that it is kind of like a bunch of like strung together like notes and research regarding lichens.
Interesting.
And then Additionally, so looking for lore. That's super broad. So, are you looking for just any tidbit, or are you looking for history, or are you looking for mythology, pantheons?
Looking
Because it
for-
does this seems like a study area. Like people grab stuff and bring it to here, so it is kind of a mishmash inside this space.
I'm looking for information pertaining to Margot's empire.
Ooh, okay. With a 14 in this section, not much. And how long are you planning on spending in here?
Until somebody calls for me. Or, attempts to get my attention some other way. Dolphin is relatively easily distracted by information.
Okay.
The library is a dangerous place for this man.
Right.
Joel will sit there and let him read for a little bit and just sit in the doorway.
Okay. With a 14, you do find just a little bit. And there's a couple of other students in there, and really it's more like they point you to the more historical section. You're able to find a couple of pieces there and then bring them back. You pull them, or what you find is that the Tevian Empire it came into Aeon. You see like a brief history of Tevia, and it's the entered Aeon date. So ED is about 246 AC. AC refers to after creation. After the creation of Aeon being essentially the furthest records back of when Aeon was created, that is considered day zero, year zero. So they came in about 246, so about 246 years after Aeon was created. They quickly became a place of power, and they, through just sheer military might, and it goes briefly into discussion of that it's not just the size of their military. The size of their military is actually relatively small, possibly compared to other nations. But the effectiveness of their military is extremely high. In terms of like weapons, they are not the type to throw bodies at the wall. They're the type to use a surgical knife to cut away something or cut into something. They are very precise, very methodical, and they started off by finding surrounding places that were easier to kind of absorb. And so it kind of went with the lowest hanging fruit first approach. And they've expanded since then, becoming one of the world leaders now.
Is there any reference to where this empire came from before they just, appeared?
that's one of the things about Aeon is that almost every thing that appeared in Aeon came from a different place.
Yes.
There's very little connection between anything that like showed up on Aeon. Historically, it's only happened like a few times where one place was brought in from, a world, and that same world had another thing that was brought in, and they knew about each other. So it's not a highly recorded detail to record that, at least not at this point in Aeon's history. It was kind of originally, and then that tactic kind of faded off because the correlations, after like 150 years worth of study, just nothing ever really came of it. So the general historian practice is that they don't really care as much anymore. So this particular one is not listed as it's kind of like, hey, welcome to Aeon, doesn't matter where you came from, you're here now.
I will go ahead and place a bookmark into the book, close it, put it into my pack, and then go investigate the pinboard of lichens. See if I can figure out if somebody's a secret werewolf.
Okay, gotcha. So you, being you're very familiar with library procedures. You do have to check the book out, but it's quite easy. Especially being a Whitewater College student. You already have essentially an account here. They know you. You've been here before, but you've never been down here since the Empire came on your radar. Easy enough. They just record that you are the one that has the book checked out.
Well,
and the book is titled, and it's labeled year 306 or year 306 AC, current world leaders.
okay. I hope that 15 sessions from now, some random, bounty hunter doesn't show up and is like, "You have an overdue library book. I will destroy if you do not return it."
That's Seamus.
Yeah, that's literally Seamus's job. Yeah, go ahead and give me a separate investigation check to try to understand and piece together what it is about this lichen setup that somebody was studying. 11. Not your area of expertise. It seems like you know the patterns of study, and you can tell that they were kind of cross-referencing data in an attempt to figure something new out, but your base understanding of the subject matter is so far off that you don't know what they were trying to figure out or whatnot. So most of it's Greek to you. You know there are lichens, and apparently somebody studies them.
He will look at the board for a little bit longer, and then whisper, "Well, I suppose as long as I do not get bit, this information is not necessarily relevant to me." And then he's going to simply step away and start walking after the party.
Just draw looks. You're done?
I believe for now I am done, although I'm quite interested. Is Yaslin... Oh, wait. Where is Yaslin from here?
Wandered off.
Oh, she's all the way down the road. I thought you were still standing there waiting.
The moment she saw that you were starting to come back, she continued on. She was like, okay, now she's going, okay, let's go.
Forget what I was about to say.
Anything else that you guys are doing while you're here? Anybody else making a pit stop?
Jiro is actually going to talk in his head and see if he's still connected to Margot.
As long as it hasn't been an hour, yes.
Morgan has been an hour.
Oh, since when? Remind me when you put it up.
It was at some point during the interrogations.
Oh, rest in peace.
No, the interrogations were long. You guys grilled each other for a
Unless you guys
couple
did
of
something
hours.
after I left.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I think the current mind link has expired.
Jiro just, you there? And no response, and just, thank God, and start walking.
Either that or he's going crazy.
Let's catch up with the group. Library is not his forte or interest, so.
You guys just continue your way down. Leo, what are you doing while we're here? Oh, we don't have a Leo.
He can just drop.
Mm-hmm. It was panned away for a second. Okay, so you guys should kind of continue on, making your way down from here down to Ripple Top.
As we travel, I would like to turn to Dro and ask a few questions. First question is, tell me, so where is it that you are from? Where do you hail?
Morgan, are you cool with a question I asked a while back on Bro's location of birth? Using that one
Remind
place?
me?
Using the one place I was working on?
Oh, one sec. I'm gonna text you just make sure.
Answer to be determined. Yes.
I was born somewhere.
Yes. All good on that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm from a city. It's called Aurora's Rest. Grew up most of my life there, but interesting.
Am I aware of this city?
Roll me a history check, which is really a geography check.
Oh no, not geography. Oh, yes, geography. 19.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, behold, my little foam ball covered in clay.
Oh, nice.
Is the way that I finally started making some progress on like the world map today. I had to make it like physical and tangible. So I had not yet thought about like, okay, where's Aurora's Rest? Oop, I do know. Aurora's Rest. So, and I'll share this, and I'm working on the world map, but it's not very well defined yet. So this right here is essentially like a singular ice cap on the top of the world. And there is no southern ice cap. It is just this northern one. The gap between the ice cap and any other like location is pretty big, except for right here. This is a different country, and like the closest location to the ice cap, that is where Aurora's Rest is. It is essentially the furthest northern settlement in Aeon besides that northern ice continent.
You come from a very far, very cold place. Tell me, what was it like growing up?
Kind of chuckles. Um, it was eventful. I mean, Aurora's Rest is ironic, the name of rest. There isn't a whole lot rest done there. um, my childhood was spent mostly in the shadows, observing those. Which is very ironic because the place is actually quite beautiful, and I'll cast minor illusion, and what you'll see is just a mix and match of colors, similar to like the Northern Lights, similar to Margot's dream realm, just a little bit different. These lights are always in the sky, hence Aurora. So very bright, very lively. But I spent most of my childhood in the shadows watching them.
You,
Wasn't quite, let's say, popular in the city.
you were outcast. Is this because of your own choosing, or is this because of something that has happened to you?
More of it wasn't my choice. It's all I've known since birth.
I know what this is like to be different. For society to look at you, if they even look at you, quite strangely. Tell me, why did you come here?
I was given a task to gain knowledge. I have a goal in mind, and for me to achieve that, I have been tasked with gathering knowledge. And he kind of looks down at the necklace that you would see him wearing. I also was forced out. This journey I was been on was planned. This was just expedited due to an incident, and he'll glance at the necklace and the sword that's sitting on his hilt, or on his hip. I figured, what better time to work on my journey and get away for a while.
To seek knowledge is admirable. That is why I left my town. That is why, well, I eventually ended up here. Knowledge is everything. And just learning more, it is so fulfilling. I must ask, have you learned this knowledge that you were looking for?
For what I'm looking for, no. I've learned a lot of things, and yeah, it's been helpful, but the knowledge isn't quite for me that I'm gathering. What I'm looking for, the answer that I'm looking for, is still way out of reach.
Perhaps we shall find it soon. Perhaps sooner rather than later. Tell me some of this knowledge that you have already acquired. What is some of the most helpful things that you have learned?
He hesitates on saying that. A lot of the knowledge I gather is just people, places that are extraordinary. Master craftsmen, fighters, mages, thriving cities, and all types and ranges. What I see could be beneficial for Eon. survival. And honestly, I don't care about it. But it's my job. It is not the question I'm looking for, and I don't even know if I'm ready for the answer that I'm been chasing after for years.
Dothan is not going to say anything else. He is simply going to look disappointed. He'll start to slow his pace down a little bit.
I think Tro will just kind of put his head down and walk. But still in his other hand, walking with those colors. Just watching them. I think eventually he'll kind of snap out of it and try to catch up to Seamus. And how are you doing without Nora?
I've definitely been thinking about her. But she's also one of the most capable people I know. In any form.
Yeah, that is definitely not an understatement there.
That's part of why I think I want to go back to the Downs. We've got the stake there. And she likes her money. I figure we can expand some of the operations we've got there while we're in town and maybe give her a place to show up if she finds her way back from whatever it is that she's on about.
I didn't know a whole lot about Nora, and I know you two were close. Was there something, a goal or promise or something she had that would have made her run off like that and just leave?
Nora was an independent contractor like me, but she got her start in monster hunting. And she got her start in monster hunting because her family was killed by monsters. The type of monster that she became. Whatever's going on there, it's personal. Something I feel she's going to have to work out on her own.
I get that. So, you don't mind me asking, when we met, you said you and Nora were traveling together for a while, and with her gone, what keeps you around here with us?
I've worked independently and I've worked with groups before. I've worked for people mostly. What I see in Aeon of the people that make it in the world, they've got people at their back. And usually the ones at the top have a close inner circle. I'd like to think that we're starting to make that. That is the direction that I am headed.
You're all just kind of look at everybody. I see. This group idea is, I mean, fairly new to me as well, so I see where you're coming from. You can kind of get used to it. Someone having your back. And you having theirs.
Trust is earned in the world like Aeon. But I think, at least so far, this group has earned a little bit of an accord.
Yeah, there's definitely something here. And he just kind of looks, and I think without Jero even really thinking about it, he would look at each individual person, but different amounts of time per person. So Margot and Seamus, decent. Yaslin the most. Dolphin, decent amount, but not a whole lot on Leo. He just kind of comes back and looks at Seamus and just kind of nods. Still, obviously something in, he's thinking about something in the distance, but trying to. It's not the same attitude he had when he grilled you the first time making their way up here. Clutching the necklace he's still wearing unintentionally. He'll just kind of silent.
Margot, how you holding up there? You had quite a last few days.
I believe we all have had quite a difficult few days. I think I'm happy to find some allies.
And as you guys are kind of traveling down, yep, Margot, we can still hear you, I think. Can you say something else? I don't think we have you.
No, lost her.
No, another one bites the dust.
And another one gone. Another one gone. Dropping like
Stuck
twice
in my
now.
head now.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Okay, Yaslin's been like happily munching along on her fish.
It's a good fish. Well seasoned, salted, served nicely. Dolphin, as you're kind of looking around, you start to see like a few critters here and there. Just kind of going about their business. Birds are the easiest. You are coming as you're going by. You do come across the burn patches of the forest, and it's a little disheartening to see some of this like lush mountainside is instead kind of naked, with the trees being sparse and thin and burnt. But You do also see, I mean, it's been 5 days, not a lot of time, but in a lot of these areas, you see buds appearing off of a burnt limb, which should be carbonized and not viable at all.
Are there any animals going to and fro that are attempting to perhaps rebuild or scavenge?
Absolutely, they are. They're just, yeah, some of them are like squirrel-like things that have like kind of 6 legs and like a thicker, more muscly back. There's a couple of like deer-like creatures that have less of like antelope style horns and a little bit more like smaller ram horns instead. You do see some of them like just kind of gathering as you go by, and they're trying to kind of reorganize their lives. Just- What did
So-
Forge do?
As Dolphin is walking, he'll be just kind of looking forward and then notice movement out of the sides of his eyes, and he'll just kind of turn and look, then look at the party, and you can see there's just some types of something is running through his brain. Before he eventually stops walking, he says, please everyone, wait just perhaps like 3 minutes or something like that. I must do something real quick. And he jogs off to the side of the trail and falls to his knees. And he begins to speak out loud. He says to the animals, if any of you have been burnt and you are injured, I have water that would be able to soothe your wounds. Or if you are hungry, come to me and I have food for you.
Give me a nature check. And I'll say with advantage, because they can actually hear you.
Let's roll again. Oh boy. Highest is 22.
Okay. Within a couple of minutes, the dolphin goes off, and there seems to be kind of just almost like a little bit of like a rush of wind just kind of goes out, carries your words. And within a couple of minutes, you've got just kind of like a ring of animals around you of varying sizes that are just, a lot of them some of them look hurt. Some are like limping, some are looking good, healthy. Some of them look a little too young to be on their own. But you do have like a group of them that kind of surrounds you.
I'm going to say, those of you who are hungry, please step forward.
And you get a reaction. There's several of them that do a lot of the small. You even have something similar to like an aeonic chimpanzee that kind of like waits in the background. This one's got kind of like a more armored breastplate made of like thicker bone. Kind of has like a second pair of arms, like kind of protruding underneath, but on the back. And its face is a little bit more elongated. It kind of waits its turn.
I'm going to go ahead and cast Goodberry. Use one of my first level spell slots to conjure up 10 berries, which I will hand to the animals that have stepped forward. just eat one. Eating one will make you feel full for the rest of the day. And if you're hurt, it will make you feel much better.
You get some good participation, and they all seem very grateful and appreciative. Some of them like come up and like nuzzle on your legs.
I'm going to go ahead and, the ones that come up and nuzzle against me, I will pet them and I will say, right now, it seems like things cannot get any better, but they will. Things will get better, and nature will return. Your life will continue being wonderful. You just need to give it a little time, and everything will be okay.
Is
They seem to-
Kenji wooed by dolphins? Treatment of the animals here. Like Kenji's had good berries in the past, I think. And I'm curious, like just generally the dynamic between Dolphin and Kenji actually.
Is Kenji a beast or a monster or a conjuration? Like, what is he?
Roll me a it's nature check day. Roll me a nature check to try to categorize him.
Oh boy. That is enough.
You're not entirely sure. Seems like he could go several different ways, but I would say you do kind of see him like being next to Leo, kind of like leaning to the side and observing Dolphin. In kind of this like, kind of like looks up at Leo, makes a grunt. Just like he's eyeing you for sure.
I will look at some of the smaller creatures and say, it might take a little bit longer for your homes to return. If you are interested, you are more than welcome to travel with me, and I will try and find a home for you. I will try and keep you as safe as I possibly can, and as well fed as I can.
Roll me an animal handling check there. Oh, I should have had you do one of those earlier.
14.
14. Most of them seem more interested in kind of staying in this. You see their like energy is like a bit more revitalized after having the good berry.
By the way, I am able to understand them if they decide to talk to me.
Gotcha. None of the birds seem to, buy into your request. You get the impression from them that it's much easier for them to migrate to a nearby place and then like migrate back. The larger ones are fine. There is one that is it's kind of like near equivalent to like a kangaroo mouse. But it's got kind of like webbed feet. And it's the one that looks like it's a little bit too young to be on its own. Kind of looks up at you and kind of squeaks. I don't have a home. I know that my parents are gone.
So up until this point, once Dolphin started interacting with the animals and handing them berries and whatnot, you're able to see on his face that he's just standing there with this look of absolute, pure, unbridled joy, as if he were a kid that just, woke up and got a whole bunch of gifts and money and was told you can do whatever you want with today. So he's standing there, just having a great time. And as this mouse squeaks at him, the smile fades away and he just starts crying. Through tears, he's going to say, "I'm so sorry that this has happened to you. And so young. This must be difficult and terrible. If you would like, I can try and find you a home. What is your name, friend?"
What's the name?
Oh, a name. This is thing that you are known by. Perhaps a series of squeaks, or perhaps something else entirely. It is what makes you you.
One moment.
Squeak, squeak, squeakity, squeak.
Kind of looks up at you and says,
I Mother always said I had quick toes.
When I see this is a very good name to be associated with. Would you like to be called Quicktoes?
It reminds me of her. It kind of makes me smile. Makes me happy.
Then, Quicktoes, we shall travel together, and I shall find you a new home, a wonderful place that you will be happy.
kind of looks down and looks back up. And,
You are not so scary.
I do not intend to be so scary. I try to be friend. It is what I do best. I help all animals that need it, and I make strong bonds with them. He's going to bend down and hold out his hand.
kind of hops on. It's like,
What is your name? What is your name?
I am known as Dolphin. And then, as best as I can from my understanding of animal language, I'm going to attempt to squeak it back at him.
kind of twitches his ears. So like,
Your squeaks are a little funny.
It is
But
not
I-
my natural language.
Okay.
Quick toes, be sure you may stand on my shoulder, you may go into the back. Just try to stay around me, so that way I do not lose you, okay?
Okay.
I'm excited to journey with you, good friend. And he's just gonna hold up his hand to his shoulder. And as Quick Toes hops off, he's just gonna just wipe away the snot and the tears from his eyes, wipe it on what little clothes he's wearing, and then turn back to the party and go, I am now ready to go. Let us continue our journey.
okay.
Just Druid doing Druid stuff, you know?
Yeah, Druids. Suddenly, I feel like we're gonna be like an orphanage for like a bunch of animals that potentially he's not even gonna be the one carrying half the time.
Oh, nice. I like quick toes.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit of a description. He's got like on his chest, he's all over. He's not like a very like well groomed looking mouse. He's kind of like shaggy, like an Irish wolfhound is shaggy. It doesn't matter how much you groom like an Irish wolfhound or like one of those like really like mop looking dogs. They never quite look good, but it's almost handsome in its own way. Like got that. They got like big long whiskers, big long fuzzy chest, like a little bit of like green foliage seems to be like tangled in the top of his ear, and he's got like double layered, or in the top of his hair, and he's got double layered ears, and a little bit of like a blue tinge on the front of his chest. And he's about yay big, very small. Duffin, go ahead and take a point of inspiration for that whole scene.
Oh, I
Well
can roll
played.
2 points of inspiration? Question mark.
Alas, no.
Womp womp.
But you do have a cute new friend.
Yes, wonderful. That's all I ever
Gosh.
wanted. You know.
Now we just have to keep this cute new friend alive.
I got a few things. I mean, if I have to use all of my healing spells just to heal probably something with 1 hit point, I'll do it, you know?
He'll be our
Makes-
mascot from now on.
All right. Anything else that you guys are doing or talking about as you continue on down back towards Rippletop?
I think eventually, if Yaslin's leading the group, Joe will just kind of walk up and kind of bump her
Hmm.
and just kind of grin and just nod and just keep walking, not say anything.
Or if he's nodding to my face or not, and if I'm willing to share it, the answer is no.
No, it's just one of those. Just I don't even know how to acknowledge. He's
Yeah.
gonna grin and just kind of keeps walking. I think though, I don't know if anyone would notice, but during that whole scene with Dolphin and Quicktoes, just Dro goes from very confused to what the hell is he doing to kind of smiles a little bit to see this person with such a big heart. But I don't think he would let anyone else see that he was smiling at that. And then realize now we have to keep someone else alive.
Yeah, that's kind of what Yaslin's whole train of thought was this entire time. She's like, and now I have yet another little pup under my fucking...
How much of that fish have you eaten?
well, I mean, she tried to take her time, but like,
I think
at least a quarter of it is gone.
if Yaslin was distracted by that scene, I think Dro would have tried to snatch a piece of the fish.
Roll a sleight of hand.
She's trying to take my fish that I'm eating.
I'm gonna back away from Yaslin if I see that happen.
It's more of just like trying to not take the whole fish, but get a piece of it or
Like,
something.
take a. Yeah, I know. Get a chunk.
Are you stealthing this or doing this
Oh yeah,
speedily?
stealthing it 100%.
Oh yeah. Yaslin, what's your passive perception?
15.
Ooh.
I say, you want me to do stealth or sleight of hand? Because I did sleight of hand.
Well, sleight of hand is
Okay,
like
that's
kind
what I
of like a
thought.
stealth check. So yeah, you get the piece, but Yaslin notices. Like actually, like she like looks back and notices that a piece is gone, and that you're not moving your mouth.
Just smile.
I shift towards you. And there's like a brief moment where she's like, do I get him back for this? It's like, nah, it's Joe.
Once she kind of backs off, you'll start chewing.
You could have just gotten your own, you know.
Still don't think it was a good idea to take from a shrine.
They said it was okay.
Again, who is they?
I don't know.
Like, stops mid chew, questioning if you should be eating this.
He's gonna get cursed. Listen, I don't feel bad yet about it, so.
Just continues to walk and kind of smile, looking at everyone, seeing the interactions Dolphin has, that interaction, recalling the conversation he just had with Seamus. But I think he keeps glancing over at Margot in a more concerned thought. As she's been fairly quiet this trip, which isn't like her.
If she notices that, she'll just look over at Dro. Well, I mean, does she notice that first?
I don't think Dro's being particularly evasive about it.
Can I help you with something?
No, I'm just making sure you're okay. We all went through a lot in a short amount of time. And it's kind of peaceful out here, and everyone seems, for the most part, okay. And you've seemed quiet, which is out of character. At least from what my understanding. Either you speaking verbally or invading personal space. And he kind of gives you a quirky little grin when he says that, to try to lighten the mood a little.
There's just a lot on my mind. I hadn't really thought of it before, but perhaps this was intended to be the mission that kills me, as my brother's was. So I don't know what will happen if I go back. And I don't know what danger that might bring to you for helping me to survive when I should have died.
A little helpful advice here is we piss off a lot of people. So let's just add that to the list.
That's fair. But a secret organization is a little more difficult to handle. Perhaps not, though.
I wouldn't underestimate anyone here when it comes to that. And he'll just kind of smile and kind of look away a little bit and start to walk, hoping he gave Margot a little bit of ease.
I think she looks a little more at ease. She'll just keep walking with the group.
As we're walking, is there anything? Obviously, we see wildlife and maybe damage that's happened from the fire and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But recalling when we last started to make our way up here, we got attacked. Is there anything that seems threatening around as we're walking? Just, again, being on that alert for the most part, as we're not in a city.
Sure. Go ahead and give me a perception check. So you're kind of pivoting.
Guidance. Why couldn't I have done that with the fish?
So the overall impression that you get of the forest is a bit of exhaustion. Like there's been a lot of activity here in the last little while. And things are just trying to breathe again. The wild nature of this kind of rainforest type mountain is a little bit minimized. It's just trying to recuperate and recover. There's nothing that catches your eye. So,
Hearing the sound of Yaslin eating a fish.
yeah. And I think Leo, on this journey, you probably bring out Marcus along with him. Marcus will just kind of come and sit on his shoulder. Just kind of hover along and just kind of be companion. I think Leo's probably just looking a little bit inward. Just trying to think of what's coming up next. Probably excited to meet Belga again, see if she's okay. And let's see here. And it doesn't take you guys very much longer to kind of get down. Just like a couple of hours of going along, and at some point, most of the group just kind of falls into like a silent patter as you just walk along doing your thing. And so I need to update most of your character tokens here. And I'm missing. Yes, there we go. Okay. So you guys do come back down to Purple Top, and it's the kind of the like early morning. There's not very many people out and about right now. You see a decent amount of guards, more than you saw last time. But civilians seem to be a little bit more reserved. Not out in the open at the moment. What are you looking to do as you get in?
Do we see any familiar faces? Mostly, I guess at least Stro would be looking for the action leaders. And oh, what's his name? We just said it.
Nigolo,
Thank you. Yes.
you do. He's inside of the market, and most of the stalls are more empty. But he is still there going around. Sorry, I just did a thing and it didn't work, so I'm a little confused.
I think Fro would walk up to Seamus. Do you mind acquiring the transportation? There is an errand I'd like to run real quick before we leave.
No, not a problem. I'll work on that.
And just kind of motions, and he'll start to make his way further into the city.
Yeah, and the vibe here is a little bit like that forest is exhausted. Partially because you know that this place is truly primarily nocturnal. So very few people are up right now, and it's mostly like the diurnal animal types. You don't see any of the owls. You don't see any of the types that would normally be awake at night. It's kind of like skeleton crew, except for the guard, and the guards kind of patrolling around, kind of see you, know who you are, and let you in. In this case, it's a couple of centaurs right away. They let you in, but everybody seems to be a little tuckered out.
As
For Margot and Dauphin, this is your first time here. This area looks like a series of tents that became permanent style settlement. And the tents were just reinforced over the years to become something that was, to go from something that was migratory into, we don't have to travel anymore. This is a good spot. Let's build on top of it. You've got a lot of these like wagons in this market area that do have wheels, but looks like they haven't moved in so long that the wheels have sunk down into the earth several inches, and there's like dirt and mud and even like purposely laid stones that sit on in between the spokes on like the wagon wheels. You see 3 larger tents that look much more rigid in structure. One is kind of like a red, almost oily, rainbow-ish like oil on asphalt kind of skin tone. Another one that looks like harsh and black, and another one that looks dusty and brown. There's, as you kind of like exit away from the center of this little encampment, you see less permanent looking tents that quickly translate into, this is where like the people sleep. And everybody that you see here, except for maybe like 1 or 2 representatives from like the college that are now walking around in the open, going around and assisting. Everybody here is some sort of bestial race.
As Dauphin enters into this area, he's going to look around and seeing, even though there's not a lot of people, there's still a decent amount, or, still some people around. And I assume that a lot of these tents and whatnot still have their wares, if not locked up and lock and key. Is that true?
So it doesn't seem to be security doesn't seem to be like tight here.
Okay.
Seems to be much more kind of like open and trusting is the
So a
vibe
lot
you
of-
get away.
A lot of their wares are still like out and about, even if they're not.
Yes. You see a lot of it is just like, you know, the shop is closed. It's just like a curtain that they drag across the cart. And there's still probably stuff underneath.
Uh,
Several of the carts look severely depleted. Like barely any wares left on display, even if there is somebody there.
as Dolphin enters into this area, he kind of starts looking around. He very much so begins to shrink. Not physically, like he cast a large reduce or something like that, but his body language shrinks up together, and he kind of bends more down towards the ground as he speed walks forward.
And in the center of this kind of market area, there does seem to be a couple of dining tables where a few people are like having their breakfast. Okay. Dolphin, where are you going? Yeah, and there is a lake in the center here. Give me a perception check.
Yeah, so he's perception. As he's walking around, he'll notice the water over there and pretty much just dart towards the water.
It's a very gradual downward downward slope, and it's probably only like 20 feet deep or so. But there is something kind of funny looking at the bottom of the pond here. Can't quite make out what it is, like from the surface level. But just like something doesn't match like the natural rocks or like foliage that you would expect to be in a body of water like this.
He's going to place his bag at the edge of the water at the bank, and then he's just going to go and sit like, I don't know, a foot into the water. Not very deep at all, just deep enough to feel it.
Okay. It's easy enough to do. You go get yourself submerged, and you now have the wet status. Okay. Who's up next? Yazdwin.
I think being back in town, well, she's just had a snack, but
Mhm.
nothing beats the steaks around here, so she might wave down somebody to order one.
Yeah, and as you do, you see kind of a slow-moving cat girl. Just you've seen this chick move, and she's fast, but right now she's just kind of like moseying mostly. Move it down. She's like, oh, hey, it's you. You're back. I didn't really expect you to come back. I mean, that sounds rather terrible, but
Well, I'm not dead, so
yeah. So congratulations on that. A lot of people don't have that luxury right now.
yeah, it's been an eventful week.
Yeah, it has. You here for food?
Yeah, do you have any to spare?
Yeah, we do. we're a little light on things, but that's just because of the increased need over the last few days. But we're not out yet, and from what I hear, we have a lot to thank you and your friends for. Word's gotten around very quickly.
There's nothing. I just followed my friends.
Well, I'm sure that's the biggest lie I've heard all week. What do you want? Some
Right.
house. We can do that. Gather your friends. We'll make sure they're all fit.
Wonderful. It'll save them from stealing my food.
Sounds like good friends. Give me a moment. And she kind of like walks down, and as she like gets to the end of the table, she kind of like stumbles a little bit. Okay.
Does it
Kinda-
look like she was injured at all, or is she just feeling sluggish because it's not nighttime?
No, it was definitely like she tweaked a little something, like agitated a little something. She's definitely limping. Good. Jerome.
He's going to make his way to the adventurer's door and looking for a Scala.
You don't even have to make it all the way there. She's present and she's on alert. She seems to be walking around, keeping her eyes out, watching the guard, watching everything. She's on point.
He's all home.
And as you come up and give me a perception check.
Jesus.
Very easy to see as you come up. Her tail is completely wrapped in bandages. The bandages are bloody. And from what little pieces here and there that you can see, it was burned pretty bad. And you see that she's got her hand on her hilt on her left side, and she is newly missing a finger. She's paying attention to everything. At some point, she kind of clocks you. Welcome back, Dro.
Always at the ready, I see.
Doesn't feel like we have much of a choice anymore.
Yeah. And just Joe kind of look around. So how many did you guys lose?
3. Hit luck from one of the chefs from Belgo's place. Manu, cobble pepper. Poor Kilu's been a wreck. But damn, was he brave.
You lost one of your own, didn't you?
Yeah, Ham. Rosie, the big brave idiot. From what I understand, he saved a lot of people. I wasn't nearby, but took down a couple of elementals by himself.
just kind of smiles a little bit. He died a hero.
Yeah, he did, but I kind of wish he hadn't. I understand a little bit better what you were telling me before now. I mean, with all that happened, I don't think we could have not lost anybody. I think it was inevitable. I still wish he was here.
He may not be physically here. There's just a sneaking suspicion he's still watching over you guys.
Yeah, I think so.
I just want you to know those health potions that you gave us came in handy. They kept us alive, and I want to thank you for that. Honestly,
Yes.
something that I don't think I could have done on my own. And he'll reach his hand out to shake hers. And if she shakes it, the moment she touches, he's pumping 5 hit points of his lay on hands into her.
And she absolutely does. She looks at it kind of startled.
I learned a few new
Well-
things.
Well, thank the wolf for that, says she reaches forward and heals up a bit.
Let's just say it's the second time I gave you a little healing. He just kind of smiles.
I feel like I owe you double now.
I'm just kind of looking around the city. You keep doing what you're doing here. You protect them. Just like I will protect those close to me.
You helped defend this place plenty. So the last week or so, I'd say it's a mutual duty.
Yeah, and as of lately, there's a whole lot more responsibility I have. And trust me, I hate responsibility.
Yep. She kind of leans in. She's like, so how fucking sick are you of being called champion already?
Glances over to try to find Seamus in the city. Very, very much.
Well, if you ever need, when it's not my turn to be on duty, and I delegate that to someone else. But remember, trying to learn to tell. If you ever hear while I'm off duty, I'll always go for a drink, and I won't bring it up.
I might take you up on that. I know we're right now kind of in a hurry. Honestly, just stopping by looking for supplies and a carriage to get us down to Ripple Bottom. And I think the group, we met a couple new people. So getting kind of supplied up and moving, as much as I would much rather rest for the most part, but I don't think we have time. And I think there's others that need the rest more than we do. So I will imagine our paths will cross again. And I have a feeling I will be spending a lot of time up at that library. That godforsaken library is so boring, but I have a cause now. And I have
Oh,
people
yeah.
with me. which is still new. But comforting when they're not trying to kill me. Literally. And that is for a story of another time. And he'll just, again, try to glance and see if he clocks either if he clocks Yaslin walking around.
Probably not. You're a little blocked off by the tents and
Yeah.
stuff. But you do, as you're kind of looking around, you do see someone familiar. Everybody looks fairly tired, including, your friend Baba. But Baba's going around playing music, and it just seems like he's trying to uplift spirits.
He just kind of looks around. One more question that I might ask. Would there be any... We've been looking, honestly, for more health potions. Is there any that you could spare, and I can give you gold for it? I hate to ask this, but I have a feeling we may need them down the road.
I love what we've got so far, Mr. Stone. But she kind of jerks her head over to the building to your right. But ask Pawing if she might have at least the ingredients. She's been just as busy playing doctor, so I don't think she's had time to put them together herself. But I can get you closer, at least.
I appreciate it. Then I think, for a matter of time, I think Joe will go around to each leader and just see how they're doing and just checking up on them. They gave us the hospitality here. They gave us weird strangers kindness, so he wants to repay that and at least check on them before he leaves. And help out with small tasks if he can while the rest of the group does their own thing.
Sure.
In the short time that they have here.
Okay. And Seamus, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was looking for the person's name I just lost. Migla.
Yeah.
To arrange some transport.
Okay. Yeah, Migalo, he's still up in the caravan, or like the shop area up here. Just kind of mostly it looks like he's in charge of logistics and supplies and trying to get people what they need. And as you come up to the kind of elderly bugbear man, very broad, looks like work strong, probably not fighter strong. There's some pretty deep bags under his eyes. I don't know if we had the pleasure last time. But you're one of the friends of that red scaly woman, right?
That's right. My name is Seamus Black. I'm a representative of the Water champion Zatzdro. I'm here to arrange some transportation for the champion down to the Ripple Downs.
Sure.
Any passage for the champ and at least somewhere between 5 and 7 other passengers, depending on how you book passage.
Oh, I guess that depends. We can do it.
If a mouse is sitting on your shoulder, for instance, do I have to pay for that seat?
If the butt doesn't fill up the whole space, then I'm gonna say no.
That's grand. We can work something out here then. Your finest carriage then for the champ.
Sure. Times being what they are, I'm gonna have to double up it. Going back and forth between the downs. So there'll be a bit of cargo on there with you. If you just make sure things are smooth, if it gets into any trouble on the way down, do you mind keeping it good?
I think we can lend you a little protection if that's what you're looking for.
Sure. Certainly. Yeah, that would be quite a bit of help. Can't spare much for protection up here. A little short on, well, everything.
Of course not. Let me just and I will start writing in my book here for just a little bit. Give me just a moment here as I. What were you working out for the price? Are you thinking for the trip, and then also wages for the protections?
Honestly, gold's probably the one thing I do. Guy. Let's say about 400 or so for the trip down. I can offer you, as long as it makes it there and back. The coin's the least of my problems. I need things to return safely. I know you're not. I'm not expecting you to go on down, but how about I give you an extra 200 and you find some of that protection down in the downs to send back up our way. So the 200 would be what you would pay them to come back up, a little to incentivize the wherever it is you're able to find.
I'm not sure if I'm following the deal here. It's 400 for the round trip, and then you're paying 200 for protection for the carriage back?
Apologies, I'm a little in between sleeps.
Understand.
I know a lot of you will do a fine job getting it down. And that's a bit of a reward for what you've done already. So 400 for you to ride down. I'll give you 200 to incentivize to pay the folks who will ride back up. If you'll broker the deal, that would be excellent. You seem like a man who's not afraid of that sort of thing.
And how many carriages is it that you own here? Is this just the only one?
This would be the one at the moment. The others are occupied or about to be occupied. This particular trip is just for the single.
That's great. And so, again, the numbers that you need up front here for this that you're thinking for the carriage.
For the ride, no fee for you. part of the deal. Part of us showing our thanks. But we'll give you a 400 for it to arrive safely down there, and then use the other 200 to find somebody to bring it back safely up here.
That sounds like a deal.
Good. And he reaches out and kind of like without like waiting for the full handshake, it just kind of like grips your arm in his big meaty paw and just like it's like a body shake because this guy's significantly bigger than you are. Good man. Kind of thumps you on the back and it's pretty heavy. So what are you doing in the meantime? It probably leaves it'll leave kind of in the night when the driver wakes up. Hopefully by then I'm asleep.
Well, we'll probably make some accommodations in town here. I'm sure that some of the group has some catching up to do with some of the folks in town. We'll catch back up here though once the what time did you say we should be here for the carriage? What do you think?
I think about dusk should do just fine. Get them started nice and early for their time.
Do you ever think about franchising any part of your business?
Perhaps. I mean, it's come to mind. I'm often a little busy with keeping things going here. But honestly, we make a decent trade off of people visiting as they go up to the mountain or up to some of the shrines or up to the library. But not currently. But there are times where we have a bit of a surplus. People take my shop, for example. The four gods are worshipped elsewhere. Sometimes people want to know if they can get an idol for their home, even if they're not close.
If the champion were to say, support your business publicly, and we could, send some of the occasional business your way, how much would you need a buy-in for us to be able to make something like that a consistent thing? I'd like to get a part ownership in this and just keep things going. Keep the wheels lubed as it is.
Well, truthfully, son, my brain's a little bit frizzled at the moment.
That's all fine. Don't worry about it too much. If you want to just sign right here, and I'll cast suggestion subtly, and just have him sign a contract that I wrote up for, 50% take in his business.
Okay, go ahead and what is it? Is it a saving throw for him?
Yes, that would be. I think 15, 16.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 DC wisdom.
Yeah. Okay. He fails. It's like, you know what? Let's work out the terms. And what's the? He's gonna read the contract. Basically, what does it say inside of it?
That the champion of the water champions Drow and his compatriots, sometimes known as the Friendly Friends or other aliases, depending on the situation thereof. And it's somewhat verbose. It's honestly, like, I tried to make it like more than he would want to read in a small amount of time, given that he's tired. I'm looking to just take 50% ownership in the business. We'll take 50% off the profits, collect once a month. We'll definitely send business his way, but if we ever like need somebody just given a carriage ride, that'll be part of the agreement. That's like part of like doing business cost with the friendship friends, something along those lines. But I try to make it also seem like he's going to get something out of it. I'm trying to suggest a course of activity that is reasonable, that he would, maybe just can see the benefits of signing on with a champion and the business that obviously we're going to send his way.
Okay.
He would need to like follow those directions for basically 8 hours. So if I instructed him and the words I said were just sign right here, that's when I subtle cast it. So he's gonna probably sign this contract, and 8 hours later he might not feel great about it, but he will be contractually obligated.
Sure. Yeah, and he kind of like skims over it and it's like, no, sure, 50%. Yeah, honestly, the money doesn't matter so much to me on this. Spreading the word of the four gods is pretty important. So, bit of trading, finances for exposure. That seems pretty well suited. He does sign it, and he's like, you mentioned the buy-in. 50%, probably. I'd probably need a buy-in of about 1,000 gold to get that off. For an indefinite 50.
That's not a problem. We can waive the 600 that you were about to pay us. We'll owe it at 400. I've got 229 platinum on me. I think that's like 290 gold. Yep. And yeah, I'll give him 200 and say we'll get him the other 200. I don't know. Before dawn or dusk.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a perception, or go ahead and roll me a persuasion check. The second 200 that he's going to pay you on top of the 400. Oh yeah, like he's so tired.
Gosh.
He doesn't even track with it. Like the second the 401 gold to the 600 gold, that's not for you. That's to pay somebody else. But like he's so tired, he rolled like a natural 8 on his intelligence check to track the conversation. So he's like, sounds perfectly fine to me. Yeah, it's the remaining. He kind of pauses. What is that? 100.
200 smackaloons.
Another 110 gold. By the time you depart on your carriage, we'll be good.
It was a pleasure doing business with you. I look forward to making some money with you.
Likewise. Thanks. And he kind of turns around and grabs one of the things off of his shelf. and it's a small figurine of blue jay with kind of like a and the bottom is there's like there you go. There's a token at the beginning of a beautiful partnership, and it doubles as a stamp. And he's like almost like a grandpa, like telling their grandchild about something super nifty that they don't give a damn about. And he like lifts up like the base for the bird, and it is like carved into the same symbol that's like on his wagon, which is that black circle with the very simple blue jay. Like, you ever need to send me a correspondence or anything, go ahead and give it a stamp like that so I know it's you.
I appreciate the thoughtfulness. What's the name of the business here? Like Blue Jay Express or something along them lines?
Gatherer's Trinkets.
To Gatherer's Trinkets, and I'll like imaginarily cheers him.
He'll like raise up a fist like, yeah. You don't mind? I have a little bit more to get my attention on, and then I'll set up the carriage ride. We'll see you at dusk. Likely, I'll be there. All right. And with that, let's go ahead and take a little break. I'm thinking about 20 and pick back up while I figure out why my dogs are freaking out. All right. See you
Sounds
guys.
good.
Margot, what are you up to?
I'm here. I'm just following the group around. I don't think she has any real personal business in the city. She's just kind of taking it all in.
Yeah. Kind of what would her take be? This is kind of a nomadic looking group that seems to have settled down, and literally everybody is like some sort of beast, and it's a very kind of mishmash but still somehow put together environment. You know, what would she kind of take that as? Like, how would she react to something like that?
I think she's like lived and trained in war camps before, so she kind of sees the aftermath of a disaster and just jumps into gear trying to help where she knows she can be helpful. Probably a little strange to her compared to what she's used to, but she can recognize the aftermath of a crisis and know what to do to help with that.
Mhm. Okay, cool. Let me see. Yaslin, you get your food. And there's enough for everybody. Including there is a very large portion that is not yours. That is likely meant for. And she like sets it down. And she's like, "Here's for your big hippo friend." And just kind of like turns around and walks off. And Yaslin, you have essentially what is like a full size like grilled lizard. Mm-hmm. There's lots of red meat for Seamus. There's kind of some like and it's just kind of like a collection of other things for the others. But yeah, everybody's food has arrived, but it's only like you and Margot being there.
Yeah, I think Yaslin for a while there though just kind of stares at the bigger one because she knows that their hippo friend Nora's probably not coming back. Other than that, she quietly digs into her food. Maybe sliding Nora's plate a little closer to her.
Roll me a Constitution check.
How much food's left by the time the
How
rest of
much?
the group
How
gets
much
there?
food can Yaslin?
She's fine. This
Daddy
is fine. This is like second breakfast. Let's go.
She's eating for 6.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I don't think I eat like everyone's food, but like I eat mine.
Technically, she's just eating for 5.
Oh, 5, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good. Dro, who are you going to first?
Probably Point, since I'm right here and Scala pointed me in that direction. So I'll just
Yeah.
walk in and quietly and try not to disturb if anything's going on.
Sounds good. The hinges and like the door frame are still wrecked and broken. They have not yet been repaired.
I think you would stop and just kind of look at that and recall like what caused that and just take in what damage has happened and then just kind of walk in.
And as you walk in, you see a lot of people are passed out on the couches. Like pretty much every space in here that's available is occupied. Some people are covered in bandages. Some people just are kind of like sitting down, staring off with very sunken eyes. The amount of smoke that's in the smoke shop is pretty limited at this time of day. But it's pretty easy to tell that there's a lot of people that are trying to escape their troubles right now. And including like a Pulling and her friend, they're both just like curled up like against each other, pretty much passed out too.
If they're asleep, I don't think I'll interrupt them after what they've been through. I think he'll just kind of take in seeing everyone's trying to rest, and then he'll just slowly back out and make his way back to his rabbit friend if he sees him.
Yeah, it's just kind of going around, making sure that everybody's able to hear a nice song. So he's more on like the south side. You're able to track him down very easy with by the sound of this music.
I'll just keep walking. I pass him.
He's
Oh,
down here.
there he is.
He's got camouflage.
So as he gets closer, Dro just says, "You ain't missed a tune, have you?"
He kind of stops and shakes off. Well, I miss the tunes that are not appropriate for this situation.
That's understandable. I mean, if it's any consolation, you're playing any tune better than I would.
Ah, well, I don't know much about that. I thought you did pretty good back when you were here last time.
Yeah, still a little new to it. And honestly, was taught a little bit, but not by a professional.
Yeah, well, fair enough. But the good news is that at the beginning of time, there were no professionals. We all had to start from somewhere.
Yeah, that goes with really anything.
Yeah, that's true. We all got to start somewhere, and this is where we get to start. Starting anew.
Yeah, looks like
Everybody's just trying to keep it together, and I'm just trying to add and give them a couple extra stitches to do so.
any little bit helps. Ironically,
I can't fight. I can't heal. I can't cook. I'm rubbish shit cooking. But this is the little thing that I can do.
to be fair, I really can't cook either. Maybe a little bit.
I don't know how Belka does it. She's damn good.
Yeah, I wish I could have enjoyed it more. Just someone else decided to eat a lot of the food that I had, but she seemed like she
Mm.
enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. Pretty big shame about pit luck though. It's one of the. You knew when it was him that made you real. It was precise.
Yeah. Well, if it's any consolation, he's at peace. I saw him
Is it?
along with the others.
Oh. Well, good. I think.
One thing, he kind of gets choked up. Dying for a purpose is a lot more meaningful than dying without a purpose. And from what I heard, he was brave. And with his sacrifice, a lot more survived. So in my eyes, and I'm hoping in everyone else's, he's a hero.
I haven't had time to finish it yet, but I'm working on a couple of a piece for all. For Ham, for Money, for Pitlock. There's a lot more up at the college that we keep that off too. But here, those three were part of us. And you know, when a lot of us started to form this camp and group together, we were running from people who didn't understand what it was like to be beast folk, didn't see us as people. We were running from some persecution. All of us had to go through that, like a fair amount. But you know, four kind of just spoke to us and just guided us here as far as the best we can tell. I think this might have been the first time we ever fought to defend. That's new for us, yeah.
You protect what you care about. You
Yep.
doing that shows. I mean, like you said, people call monsters, and I've been called that. But if you sit and look on both sides of the spectrum, yeah, I imagine those words anger. But just the short time here I see and how you treated us and with the kindness and the hospitality of strangers, you guys are monsters. You're just like any one of us. And
That we are.
And it's funny because I can connect with that. Most of my life I've been called a monster, I've been called a freak, and every word in the book. I'm not angry about it. I wasn't, at least.
Hard
Because
for those that fear the different to understand.
exactly. And fear can be dangerous. It causes people to lash out and causes people to get hurt.
And that is. But we'll be all right. You know, maybe for the first time. We get to write some songs about our people. Not to push away anybody, but just to celebrate what we are and how we did. I think we're all pretty proud of that, even though we're saying.
Well, I'm looking forward to listening to those songs when I come back.
Sounds good to me.
I better go find the others before they wander off and get lost. It was good seeing
Oh,
you.
I'm sure they already have. Nice
Yeah.
seeing you.
I'll just kind of look and kind of smile and turn and start to walk back. At this point, after he's made his few rounds, start to look for everybody.
Yeah, sounds good. You eventually find a few of them starting to sit down at the table and eat together. Leo is not present.
His
He goes immediately to Belgus. And best you guys can tell, pretty soon after that, they go off together.
Oh gosh.
Fade to black, fade to black.
Mhm.
It's Dolphin still at the
Dolphin.
lake here.
Yeah, you still at the lake? You doing anything else?
Yeah, so I will go ahead and as I'm sitting there, partially in the water, I'm going to turn to Quick Toes and say, well, I do believe that it may be better if you were to stay at the backpack for just a few moments as I feed my curiosity.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have him hop on my hand, kind of lean forward in the water and hold out my hand for him to hop to shore. Then I'm going to turn around, kind of look around at everyone and see the movements that are happening. I'll dive under the water.
Yeah, easy to do so. What are you intending?
Well, there was something moving down there, and curiosity kills the dolphin, so
Yep. For sure.
he is going to swim down towards whatever that was, or is.
Easy to do. As you get in, there's a sense of comfort that comes from being submerged for you. And this is very calm water. You have a feeling against your skin. And you are so familiar with water that you can tell there's no inlet for this, and this is not rainwater. There's an underground stream that trickles up into this pond. And that's the water source. And you can just kind of gently feel it rushing against your chest and rippling by as you swim down. So there's lots of movement and like little flora that exists inside of the water. And you get down and go ahead and give me an investigation or perception check.
21.
21. All right. You get down there and you see things that you're not super familiar with, but there's portions of brass that look melted. And a faceplate, that looks like a mask that is charred with like what looks like electrical lines and bullet holes. You see a few things. It's not enough to like recreate anything, but it's like bits and pieces that were left alone. Looks like some sort of machine that was broken apart and just hasn't been fully cleaned up everywhere. There's not really like algae or anything, so it looks semi-recent.
Is there anything valuable left on the remnants of the machine?
For that, give me an investigation check.
Dirty 20.
Ooh, dirty 20. All right. Give me a moment while I remember what the heck this thing was called.
El Robot. I assume that this is something that, you guys fought like 65 sessions ago, and it's like, oh, look, it's the remnants of the big bad evil guy. He swam down and found them.
I'm done with that. Ah, there we go. I remember what he's called me. Maybe get it down. I remember what he's called. Oh, there you go. Okay. The dirty 20. Two of the things that you see down there. Also roll me a D100, please.
$33.
Okay. You see down there like bits and pieces that are like scrapped, but you also see what looks like it's probably like a cannon or a weapon, but it's been ripped apart kind of from the inside out. And inside, like towards the very back end, you do see this little spherical object that seems to be kind of like wired to the outside cylinder of the weapon. And the cannon looks pretty toast, but that particular piece of it looks interesting and is still relatively well intact.
All right. Can I do an Arcana check to see if it is magical in nature?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I got good rolls tonight. I'm liking this.
Yeah, you do. It is likely magical in nature. Very artificer-based magical. So way outside your spectrum, but probably valuable to somebody.
I am going to go ahead and pick up whatever that sphere is, and then I'm going to take the half-melted faceplate. Or the half-plated faceplate.
Yeah.
I will swim back up to the surface and retrieve Quick Toes in my bag before just kind of looking around, standing there, drying off, and just, looking as awkward as possible, standing at the edge of the water like a lost kid.
Roll me a general charisma check.
Oh my god, he's so adorable. Charisma. Ability check. Oh.
You are very successful in your awkwardness.
I'll stand there. One shoulder's a little bit higher than the other. The head's kind of like here. I look almost like hunchback or something.
Yeah. You get Quick Toes back out and it's like, yeah, bag is kind of comfortable.
You say your bag is not comfortable or is comfortable?
No, your bag is kind of comfy.
Oh. Yes,
No, you're able to get
there.
back, and you can find your friends pretty quickly and easily.
Let's say Rose saw him go in the water. He just sat there and waited for him to come out. Watched what he was doing.
He's going to step over to Dro and say, "It appears as though this place has had some history. I am not sure how interesting this history is and whether or not I desire to know it, but I did find this." And he's going to pull out the half plate and extend it towards Dro and say, "They had some form of electrical charge around it at one point, and there was bits and pieces of a metal thing that was down there. It was shining and shimmering, and it captivated my interest. I thought perhaps it was fish."
Does Joe recognize what that is?
Oh, yeah.
And kind of, yeah, it definitely has history. What you're holding right there, honestly, almost obliterated this place before the fire did. We arrived. One of these came out of a graph, and yeah, it was quite a warm welcome. And we are probably the reason it is. And he looks in the water, in their lake now.
Well, I see. Then perhaps you might know what this is. And he's going to pull out the ball.
Roll an Arcana check, Dro.
My attempt to do guidance, I don't know how.
It's a bomb!
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. It's a ball.
Yeah, you're like, it's part of the machine.
Just kind of tries to look like he knows what it is. This, I have no fucking clue.
It seems as though it might have some value to it. And I do not have much use for money, but it does seem as though the rest of you care. I can give it to you, and perhaps you can go and try and find a way to sell it. Get some money to feed yourselves or something.
That's fair. We're gonna need some gold if we need to get supplies. So
Dolphin will hand over both the faceplate and the circle. The sphere.
So, Dro, you can add those to your inventory. Go ahead and call it a Flux Charger Blast Core.
Just gonna hand over half of somebody's face. Nothing to worry about there.
Yep. So you guys are able to reconvene, and everybody gets over to the table as Yaslin's probably on her third plate.
Well, good news, everybody. I was able to arrange some transportation for us, and as a matter of fact, we got to speaking about some business, and it turned out that they could use some help with protecting their their carriage as it was traveling a bit. Now, he did offer some coin, but because of the situation that he's in, I decided to go ahead and be a little bit of a gentleman and give him his money back in exchange for a longer term business arrangement. Which brings us to the point that for only 25 gold, we'll be able to get down to Ripple Downs here together and also have a bit of an ownership stake in the business.
Why do you want an ownership in this business?
Have we ever talked about residual income, diversification?
No.
What does your investment portfolio even look like?
I invest time in training.
That's
I'm
a smart
sort of
place.
like
to put it.
military.
But not all expenses can be paid for by the powers that be. Sometimes you have to work and make a living.
It's worked out for me so far, but I'll trust you on this.
With a mouthful of food. You mentioned a deal. How did you convince that?
Well, obviously the poor chap is a little down on his luck, so he's probably looking to take advantage where he can. He needed protection for his carriage down there, so he was offering 600 gold for us. I said, no, we won't take your money. Let us give you just a small bit, and in exchange we'll offer this protection now, and we'll help promote the business. Send a little his way.
You said the fact that Seamus turned down gold.
Seamus, perception or deception or persuasion. You can private that if you want.
Persuasion that? Maybe? Nope, didn't hit it. Yeah, I mean, if you don't think that 25 gold is a reasonable price to pay the gentleman for a ride down to the Downs, and in exchange, a little protection along the way for some help in promoting his business to get back off the ground after this terrible fire destruction and the graft that took place here earlier, I know that you want the best for these people. I'm just trying to see if we can't make an investment along the way. Something good for ourselves.
Bro just kind of continues eating. You passed up gold. You're growing. He just continues to eat, but stares you down like you're full of shit.
Oh, right. I was gonna say something, but you guys haven't been with him long enough to know that. The only person that would is Leo, and he's gone. He's elsewhere. Dro, while you're eating and such, and pretty distracted, from right behind you, you feel something like kind of soft and like furry on the side of your face, and Keela quickly like leans in and like kisses you on the cheek. Glad to see you back. She like, backs away. She, like keeps doing something else.
What the fuck?
And as she's leaving, she says, "Once I'm healed up, you still owe me a race."
Mouthful. Uh-huh. Looks over at Yasmin. Isn't that who you chased after for food last time?
Mm. Maybe.
Goes back to eating, trying to grab the food before Yaslin does.
I found the perfect sound.
Inspiration to Discord for giving us impromptu sound effects. Okay. Anything else you guys would like to do as like the day goes on? You guys are stretching into kind of late morning here. So we've kind of got an afternoon to relax. Seamus explains the deal that, if you guys pony up, then like you guys are on guard duty going down, which is basically like a nighttime travel. Probably a good idea to get some rest before that happens.
As we eat, Dolphin is going to have a relatively small portion of food. Not eat too much, just enough to be mildly satisfied. But as he eats, he's going to look over to Yaslin and ask, "Is there some reason why you eat so much?"
Shro scoots back away from the table.
Because the food is good.
Do you truly burn that many calories?
Probably yes. Actually.
Tell me, does the place that you are from, does it have very good food? Or do you prefer the food that is out in the world?
Well, I say the place I come from has pretty good food. I mean, as good as food you can get in a jungle-ish swamp, but it's always nice to taste the foods of other places.
Tell me, what in your personality causes you to gravitate towards food? Was it some reason when you grew up, perhaps it was not quite enough food?
Listen, food is good, okay? I just like to eat food. Do you not like food?
I prefer to have a little food, not very much, especially if the seafood is not very salty. I truly enjoy the salt.
You should have gotten one of those tunas.
And tuna. I have not had tuna for quite a while.
I don't know if it was a tuna. It was some big fish.
Oh, perhaps if you had shown me the fish, I would be able to identify it. I've seen many fish in my lifetime.
She thinks I'm pretty sure she's eaten it all by now, so...
Where did you learn how to fight?
Well, with my tribe, of course.
Of course. And why did they teach you?
These seem kind of like all obvious questions, but because it's something that is necessary to learn if you want to survive.
So you simply care about survival. What is your goal? What are you looking for?
It seems strange, but I think it's more of a spiritual journey that I'm on.
Are you speaking of trying to find yourself? Or are you speaking of strengthening your spirit and attuning with other spirits?
The latter.
Have you come into contact with other spirits before?
I guess you could say that, in a way.
What do you mean by that?
It's complicated.
Oh. Why, I am quite rather intelligent. I'm sure if you explain it, I will be able to understand it.
It's tradition of my people.
Your people are spirits? Connect with spirits? Fight spirits? Search for spirits? Seek knowledge from spirits?
Close. My people would probably explain it better than me.
I do not consider myself to be very good at conversation, but I do not consider you to be either.
Dro mid-drink, like, chokes his drink.
Her eyes turn to Drow like, what is this?
Just looks at Dolphin. Okay, next topic.
As it stands, there's not a lot I could tell you. Even the knowledge I do know is not something I can just give to anybody.
One day I shall learn what it is, and then I will decide if I should write it down or not.
Well, if that is what you see yourself doing, you do you. I think I'll continue to eat my food.
Dro's in the middle of this. This is so awkward.
Yeah. Yasmin is just like trying to eat her food, find her husband is like, do you like food? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, duh.
Duh. Do you not?
Dolphin is
Very
not a very
tasty.
good conversationalist.
I love it.
I felt awkward playing the character to ask those questions. It's like, oh god, this isn't what I would ask as Noah.
That's my favorite part about this game. You can play things that are very much so not you, and so it is awkward getting into them. You can also play. You can also play portions of yourself that you want to expand upon that you don't get to really do in life.
I'm so used to the, lawful paladin that's just very charismatic, having a good time, friends with everyone, doesn't say anything awkward or rude. It's all just great. Everyone's like, yeah, I love being around that guy.
What about food compels you so?
What does that even mean? I need to eat to survive. Like, duh.
Yeah, hello? Substance?
Dolphin is going to, once the conversation comes to a very clear finish, he is simply going to drink and stop eating.
Dro's just looking between the two of them like...
Quick Toes comes out and like grabs like a few crumbs and like scuttles back like up your back and like onto your shoulder and just eats them. And Kenji is there with you guys, as is Marcus, and like they're just like sitting down. They're gonna like kind of nibble off whatever's left of people's plates by the end.
I mean, Dro would kind of flip a piece over to Kenji.
Looks at you like a little untrusting and be like,
Hey, take what you can get.
Dolphin, after watching this little thing happen, is going to look at Kenji and he's going to say, "Hello, what is your name?" Damn, he's not an animal.
Nope.
It was worth a try, but at least now I know.
Mm-hmm. Any other discussion before the kind of night starts to roll in and the town begins to wake up a little bit more and more? So is anybody in on Seamus's plan, or what are you guys doing there?
I'm for it.
Goes for it. Knows there's something he's not saying, like nothing bad, but the gold part is got him interested. Seamus passing up gold, but doing these guys a favor. Joe's all for it.
Often
Because
doesn't
like-
Margot
work, yeah.
sees no issue.
I feel like Leo is all in too. Leo and I seem like we're on the same wavelength here as far as expanding business interests.
Yeah, when you guys finally do like see Leo, you know, as he like returns with his walk of shame, yeah, he's kind of presents it to him and he's like, oh yeah, of course. So he hands it over. Take it off of his. Oh, where is he? There he is.
I'm sure that you sent our best to Belga.
Yeah, she's doing fine. I think she's
Uh-huh.
a little rattled, but good besides that. And things do continue to fade into the night. Things are fairly uneventful. You're able to, those of you that wish to can go find a good spot to rest. Go have a little bit of alone time. Continue to help out just with like odd little things that need to be done around the camp. And the evening comes up pretty quickly. Any final things before you guys kind of just gather up on your carriage for the evening and head out?
I think Yasmin actually will find Ro wherever he is. Probably shouldn't be too hard.
It's probably up in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
She gives it a good like kick.
Ow.
Hey, that didn't hurt you.
I mean, I could have fallen.
And you would have landed on your feet.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Anyways, don't think I haven't forgotten this. And she pulls out the necklace.
Right. And he'll pull out the one that he's holding. Or not holding, wearing, like he'll just hold it up. Haven't forgotten. He's-
You gonna
he
tell
hops,
me about this?
he hops down off the tree. Cocky. Saying that she said I'd land on his feet, so he would. And then just kind of sit next to the tree, sit down.
Oh boy. Alright. Crisscross gets situated.
So he'll take his off and he'll take the one that you're holding. And it holds them up. And you see is they're identical. The only difference is the crescent moon that's on the side is on opposite sides. So they would be facing each other. These were something I got from someone that was close to me. Kind of a last momentum from him. And at the time, I didn't really fully understand what they were saying. And he starts to point on the necklace of, he points to the moon. And then he points to the globe and he says, they told me they had different meanings, and starts with the moon. This, obviously, the moon's up every night. It sees everything that happens at night, so you kind of get the memories it sees during the night, and he's trying to recall a lot of what he was told. The moon has all these different phases, and I was told people are just like that. Personal growth. We all go through phases. Holds him up again, and the moon's side by side. And then points to the orb, the little glass ball which is inside, is a swirl of like purple, twilight kind of thing. And behind it, he does his dancing lights. So they shine through, and it is a mixture of colors. The orb holds everything. It holds memories, emotions, connections. And you look at it, it looks as almost if the purple's moving. And it has its ups and downs that a person goes through. I mean, he puts the necklaces together. The two represent two people that are connected through this. And honestly, I didn't understand why I was given these. And the last words I was told was, find someone you trust to give the other one to. And he puts the one in Yasin's hand. And puts the other one back on. I'm still not quite used to not being alone. Even when I had Echo. But now I don't feel alone.
It's because you're not.
And then you'll notice as these lights are going, they will shift into a figure. Longer hair. I mean, you can't make out much with lights, but smaller individual. Probably about the size of Margot, but longer hair than Margot. And it's just like a silhouette. I had Echo and one other. And now I just had Echo. And now I don't have him. But I have you and the others. And he'll just hold the necklace tight. It felt like when your chimera took over that I had lost someone else. And I'm just hoping this, and he taps the necklace that Yaslin's holding, let you know that I'm here as well. And I'm not that easy to get rid of.
You've already proven that.
Yeah. And if I have to literally beat it into you, which I have, I will.
Thank you. There was a time when I thought I was alone, even when I had my chimera. I thought people wouldn't understand. But you've shown me that trusting is a thing that isn't always bad. And to give people a chance.
He'll just kind of sit and learning to not judge people by the cover of their book, even if, let's say, they shoot you in the back with a crossbow.
Bro, I don't hold it against him.
I don't know if I do. At the college, when I had brought that up, that was a test. And I was curious if he really understood what he did. And my concern is that if the time comes, he may not have our back. So, the thing about me, and I think you'd learn this, is as much as I enjoy being around people, it is very, very hard for me to trust them at first until they prove it. And when they harm those that I care about, that doesn't help the cause. And he'll just kind of look off in the distance. And I think you would notice that he's grabbing a hold of Echo's sword. And he'll kind of pull it out and set it there and look at it. And you will see that it is still stained with something on the end. And when I've told people, if they hurt those close to me, I will go to no end of the earth to get back at them. Or at least I thought I could. But now that I think about it, I don't think I was the one that was doing it. I'll just stare down at that sword.
No. I think there is a part of you that was a part of him just as much as he was a part of you.
I know nobody has really seen him besides one incident back home. And everyone called him a monster or a demon or a vile creature. And I don't think that's what he was. I know that's not what he was. And then when Margot saw him and wasn't afraid of him, that the first person besides me to feel that is calming.
Is that why you hid him from me? You never told him about me, yet you talked to yourself. It just seemed.
I didn't want to hide him, but... And he'll squeeze the necklace. One time he came out, it was as if we both lost control, and it was anger that triggered it. And all I remember me is red, and then coming back covered in blood, in a body in my lap. and seen Echo with this look of regret, just absolutely devastated as well. And this sword laying next to us. The person that gave me these necklaces was the one that was laying in my lap. So that's why I kept him from everybody and told him he can't come out, because I was afraid what he would do to you.
I think Yaslin, to an extent, kind of understands why Tro was so hesitant and cautious. Just because, from her own experience, she's had to walk a thin line. And she's not very good at words. So instead, what she does is she scooches closer and wraps him in a hug.
Just hugs her back. And I think you'd feel him just relax. Just silent.
Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you for being there.
I'll do my best.
As
It's something I've decided to do when I first was assigned to work with you.
he just kind of smiles and laughs a little. Weren't you so lucky to be assigned to me?
Oh, so lucky. You're so annoying. But I've gotten used to it.
Yeah. That's what everyone says. I'll just kind of laugh and just kind of sit there next to Yaslin. We might want to get some rest. I've got a feeling this journey isn't going to be a breeze.
If anything, this past week has shown us, I'm hoping it'll be a little bit more breezy, but
Oh, you don't
I'm
want to
sure.
fight fire or some bug dream creature that Margot has created in her mind?
I mean, not particularly, no.
That's fair. But in all reality, we probably still need to be wary. Those poachers aren't going to take too fond of us kind of just up and dipping out.
Yeah. Keep an eye out.
And hopefully, no. We've got the rest of it. Everyone that's got our back too. Even Leo.
I think Leo right now is hurting. Just like a few of us are as well.
Yeah. Just guess it takes time. And he kind of laughs a little. I mean, to be fair, I think he had a little bit of good time before he showed up to eat with us.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have to go to sleep to that.
I swear to God, I will use silence so fast. And Drow will just kind of put his head up and look up at the stars up against the tree. And I think just sit there till he slowly falls asleep for a bit. Before he does, looks over. Don't go and like punch me or bite me while I'm sleeping, okay?
Shouldn't have suggested that. 'Cause it's really tempting now.
Just looks back up and closes his eyes.
I think Yaslin will get up, wish Dro a good night, and try not to get stepped on while he's out here. And make her way to an appropriate place to sleep. That's not on the ground under a tree. If there's a bed,
Yeah.
she's gonna take one.
Yeah, back at Belgo's place, there's plenty. Yeah, there's not much trouble getting a room, being able to say a hi to Belga, and she kind of like takes a midday nap and wakes back up again. It's pretty clear that she's not getting much sleep, maybe only a few hours a night right now. Yeah. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you're all back in healthy. Well, I guess not all of you are back. Where's your friend? I haven't seen the big one yet. Those big ladies got to stick together, you know?
Yeah, she had some other business she had to attend to, so she scampered off, as it were.
Fair enough. Feel free to stay. You're more than welcome.
We've got a wet one with us. I don't know if you've got a hole in the roof somewhere, maybe, but his bed would be perfect under it, I'm imagining.
Well, we've got a couple of leaky tents out back. Maybe I'll put them over there. You guys all kind of begin to find your accommodations and settle down and find your midday sleep before night comes and you have to once again get up and go and protect the carriage. And so with that, as you all drift off in separate ways, we'll end our session there tonight.